Let me begin first with definition of structure and consequently function, with structure being simply the appearance of something. In turn, that appearance is not random. It's determined by the components, the internal components of that structure, but then also has been shaped by the external environment, with the function essentially just being at all the scales what the role of that structure has to play. And every structure and every component is designed to support, promote, and sustain the living organism's capacity to maintain and sustain life. Structure and function are organized at different scales and at various levels. That starts with the basic components of life, from DNA, fats, lipids, the organelles that make up the components of the cells, and then every organ having a specialized function resultant from the structure. An example would be a blood vessel, an artery, where an artery has an inner lining of cells called endothelial cells. There's only one layer of those cells in an artery. And then surrounding the one layer of endothelial cells are many layers of smooth muscle cells. And that's related with the function of an artery versus, say, a capillary, which does not contain smooth muscle cells. Only a single lining of endothelial cells. And in turn, because of that geometry and architecture, the function of a capillary is very different from an artery, though they're both components of the cardiovascular system. Arteries are the component of the cardiovascular system that are transporting blood to different organs, different tissues. So they play a central role determining where blood is going. Capillaries' responsibility is determining where the contents of blood are going, where blood is transporting many factors. Water, red blood cells, which contain oxygen, nutrients, large molecules, such as fats or lipids, and all of the other cells, such as white blood cells and ions. Then upon reaching the capillaries, because of a single layer of endothelial cells, provide the structure to allow the contents of blood to passively diffuse through the cell membranes or the spaces between the endothelial cells directly into the surrounding tissue or organ that the capillaries are contained in. If there was a layer of muscle cells around the endothelial cells, that would be a barrier for transporting those contents from the endothelial cells into the surrounding tissue. When one is physically active, one is not necessarily requiring utilization of every organ in the body. For example, when I'm running, I'm primarily activating my muscles. I'm primarily not going to be ideally digesting something. So the arteries that supply oxygen to the digestive system, they shrink. Whereas the arteries providing blood to the skeletal muscles, they dilate, they increase in size. They change their structure to allow for more blood to travel to the organs that may require it during heightened level of physical activity, such as exercise, and in turn shift the function of the cardiovascular system based off the needs of the organs that they serve and support. Biological systems have had many years, many years to adapt, refine, and evolve their structure based off of the preferred function of that structure. Nature does that intrinsically in terms of evolution and adaptation, and has designed very unique structures that can dynamically and very elegantly adapt to the needs of whatever that thing may be. And of course, there are challenges between what humanity can engineer, but that's where looking to Mother Nature and seeing how systems are structured and how they function, and identifying ways to reproduce that, simulate that. That's really where the next generation has the knowledge from nature to investigate and learn and consider and think about the next generation of engineering systems.